Friday morning. It's McCollum on Business. I'm Stephen McCollum, and for the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to get you updated on what's happening around the business world. Lots of news around the Iran war affecting those gas prices that have been fluctuating, well, going up the last couple of days. We'll get you an update on that coming up. National debt as well. Some Uber stories. Uber's just all over their news with expansions that they are entailed in lately as well. Of course, later on, national stories, local stories, stocks we're paying attention to, the market watch. Well, on this Friday, let's get into it. Let's get you ready for the weekend. Let's get into it with the market watch. And look at this. Good morning here today. Yesterday ended up being a good day on the market, and it's continuing now as well. Dow Jones right now is up 201 points. 49,962. The S&P 500 is up to 50 points, 7268 for the S&P 500. Right now, the NASDAQ, and I apologize here with the links, the NASDAQ's 276 points up today, 25,169. Apple shares are the big story today. We're going to talk about them and stocks we're paying attention to here just in a minute. Of course, this is the first trading day of May. Then you got the Russell 2K here, who is basically even here, just under 1 point up right now, 28.06. We'll have to see where that fluctuates coming up as well. So S&P raising today on the first day of May. Well, it's all around oil prices falling today. We'll talk about that here in a story just in a couple minutes on what it did yesterday, what it's doing this morning. Lots of news out there of supposedly the Iran has sent a response to the draft peace agreement, and that's giving a lot of optimism here to the market here on this Friday. Stocks we're paying attention to right now. I told you Apple's the one a lot of people are paying attention to right now, so we're going to look at it as well. 4.32% up right now for Apple. Their fiscal second quarter, well, their earnings came in at $2.01 per share. Revenue came in at $111.18 billion. While the expectations was only $1.95 per share and only $109.66 billion in revenue. Big numbers here for Apple this morning. Now, the company's iPhone sales, though, did miss estimates for the second time in 3 quarters, but overall, they're still hitting their numbers on the backside, or at least on the revenue and earnings per share side. So Apple this morning, 4.46% up here on this Friday. Next up, we're going to look at Roku out there. Roku, if I can say it right, 0.94% right now. They posted first quarter revenue of $1.25 billion. Blew away their estimate amount of $1.20 billion. They had $148.4 million in adjusted EBITDA. That was ahead of estimates as well. The estimates were only $131.3 million for the adjusted EBITDA. So they blew that number out of the water. They do see their adjusted EBITDA, their revenue and gross profit for the current quarter. They do see that coming in above expectations. Roku and pre-market was up 7% here this morning. In this first half hour of trading, you can see that's obviously dropped down here. Right now, it just flipped into the negative 0.27%, even with the good numbers out there. And then we got Estee Lauder, the beauty company, cosmetics. Well, they're up today 4.76% right now for them. They reported better than expected third quarter sales, and they raised their annual forecast as well. They are 91 cents per share. The estimates were only 65 cents per share. Blew the number out of the water. $3.71 billion in revenue is what they came in at. The estimates were at $3.69 billion in revenue. Estee Lauder, with all these good news out there for them, they also announced plans to cut more jobs, all part of that turnaround effort that Estee Lauder is involved in right now as well. So, well, not good news for employees there, but good news overall, at least in terms of the number for Estee Lauder as well. We got a bonus stock here in this segment for you, Paramount Skydance this morning. We're obviously watching this stock with the merger with Warner Brothers Discovery. That process is continuing. Paramount Skydance is up 6.74% here today. Morgan Stanley came out. They double upgraded Paramount Skydance this morning. It went from overweight. I'm sorry, went to overweight. It was at underweight before, so double upgrade here from Morgan Stanley. They say the acquisition of Warner Brothers Discovery, cost savings from artificial intelligence, and even increasing focus on growing the streaming and studio assets here at Paramount Skydance. Well, they say it's going to end well for Paramount Skydance's stock. Well, that double upgrade from Morgan Stanley and just Paramount Skydance in general and the positive vibes for them, 7.37% up right now for Paramount Skydance. When we come back later, look at stocks here on this Friday. We're going to look at Rivian. We're going to look at Reddit. Also, Roblox out there is what we're going to pay attention to. Yes, your online gaming platform. We'll look at that as well. That'll be later on in the show, but first we got to get into the national stories that you need to know about, and it's officially official. We've known it was trending this way for a while, and now that it's actually happening, will this start to send some alarms here on what we're spending as a nation? The U.S. national debt has now surpassed the size of the U.S. economy. Yes, this has not been done since the conclusion of World War II, by the way. The Bureau of Economic Analysis came out with this report yesterday. They showed that the national debt was held by the public reached $31.27 trillion. Now, this all ended on March 31st, is the numbers they were looking at. Well, the GDP, it was estimated at $31.22 trillion for that 12-month period ending at the end of March. So you can see public debt is bigger than the GDP right now. So the debt held by the public is, as a percentage of GDP, obviously above 100%, meaning that public debt is now larger than the size of the U.S. economy officially. So this latest data, it shows public debt eclipsing the size of the U.S. economy at the end of March there. But, big question marks here. Government's always obviously spinning this a little differently, right? The government is approaching the all-time record debt to GDP percentage of 106% with these numbers. That was set back in 1946. That was obviously the demobilizing after the end of World War II, way back when. That's the 106 number. We're going to cross that number of 106%. So much so, the nonpartisan group of the government, the Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, they released a 10-year budget and economic outlook earlier this year. They projected the U.S. will break the post-World War II record of 106% in 2030, with the debt held by the public estimated at 108% that year. A decade from now, debt held by the public as a share of GDP is projected to reach 120% 10 years from now. So obviously they're projecting the 108% here in just 4 short years. But even 10 years from now, 120%. Yeah. Maybe somebody's going to wake up at some point and get this problem solved here with expenses and debts and things, right? Hey, we talked earlier, oil prices are kind of the reason why the market is having a positive day today out there. And but yesterday, we told you on the show, so a little bit more details. Oil prices, huge high yesterday. Actually, hit a record yesterday during this wartime era that we're in. Brent crude is topped $126 a barrel yesterday. All on those concerns that the Iran war will drag on. No final coming, and that's why it's coming down a little bit today. Is we know Iran has responded to some of the ending the war language out there. So we know the Brent crude went so high, but gasoline prices also reached a new high on average since the conflict began back in the end of February. The U.S. cost for gas jumped to $4.30 a gallon. That's according to AAA. That represents the highest prices at the pump since July of 2022. American drivers, yes, you know who you are. Well, you're paying $1.32 more per gallon than you did just before the Iran war at that time. U.S. crude, so that was yesterday. It went to those high numbers. Well, today, U.S. crude oil, well, it's fallen more than 2% here this morning. It's fallen down to $102.45 per barrel as of this morning. International benchmark, that's that Brent crude. It edged 6.41% lower. That's down at $109.95. So we are seeing it go down, and that's all because of that report from Axios saying Iran did send a response to U.S. amendments to a draft peace agreement. They sent that through the Pakistani mediators, and it's in the president's hands or the U.S. government's hands as of right now. So we're seeing a decrease in oil here today. Now, we'll have to see it just the fluctuations on oil right now, based off of what the rumors are out there on the Iran war and that situation, is staggering. We've had Uber stories, right? Uber said yesterday, we talked about them adding hotels to their app and other things to kind of help you, plan your trips a little bit better. Well, now Hertz is getting involved with a new partnership, and they're getting away from their traditional car rental business as well. But they are partnering up with Uber. Well, they want to power both autonomous robotaxi fleets and driver-led rideshare operations as well between these two companies. So this is the shift that we thought was coming in the transportation industry. Well, we're starting to see it now, between these companies and their partnership, I should say. So under the agreement between these companies, Hertz has launched a new company, a new unit, Oro Mobility. Well, that's going to manage operations for Uber, including maintenance, charging, cleaning, logistics, all for those autonomous vehicles that Uber wants to do. The robo-taxi service, these are the ones that are going to use those Lucid vehicles that we've talked about here on the program a lot. They're expected to start, I think, later this year up in the Bay Area is where they're going to be. But this is where and then expansion after that. But that's what Hertz wants to kind of control here for Uber as well. Hertz will supply and operate fleets of vehicles driven by its own employees on Uber's platforms. Then building on a pilot program that has already expanded into Los Angeles, San Francisco markets as of now. I do know that they're doing rapid expansion with that program between these two companies. So this is a big highlight here in the shift in ride-sharing model, right? Away from individual car ownership to where you get centrally managed fleets, right? You own several cars that go out on their own and pick people up and earn you some money. Hertz is positioning itself as a transportation infrastructure provider, leveraging its expertise in large scale vehicle logistics and maintenance as well between these companies. So you're going to see more and more of this type of style coming up here as robo taxis and autonomous vehicles become more and more available out there. And we talk a lot here on GLP-1 weight loss drugs and the options to you, the pricing on them, and things like that. Well, we got some staggering numbers here this morning. And we know that Americans have a voracious appetite for these GLP-1 weight loss drugs. Now, why is this so important? Well, the nation is on pace to spend more than $1 trillion on prescription drugs this year alone. Yeah, that's a ton of money, folks. U.S. spending on those prescription drugs in 2025, well, it alone jumped 13%, went to $915 billion. It's projected to pass that 1 trillion mark here this year in 2026 as well. A major reason drug sales grew so much last year, and then, of course, expected to grow big this year as well, it's all those weight loss drugs. Also, weight loss slash diabetes drugs, which can be the same thing. Those GLP-1 drugs kind of work the same way. So tirzepatide and semaglutide are the two drugs. They have private names for some of the companies, but that's the drug of choice there. Eli Lilly's tirzepatide, that's what you know as Zepbound. That's for weight loss. And then they have the Mounjaro there that treats that type 2 diabetes. Well, that's the nation's top selling drug overall. It generated wholesale purchases of nearly $63 billion in 2025. Then you got the Novo Nordisk, which is more of a semaglutide. That's the Wegovy for weight loss. Ozempic for type 2 diabetes. Well, it ranks second in drug sales at more than $59 billion last year. Yeah. Then you go away from the GLP-1s, and the number 3 drug is a blood thinner out there. It's called Eliquis. Eliquis, I think is how you say it. It reached $29 billion in sales. Look at the big drop in sales. Yeah, less than half the amount spent on each of those weight loss drugs we just mentioned above. There's a huge drop off to number three there, but these weight loss and diabetes drugs are driving the market here in prescription drugs and sales here the last couple years out there. Hey, we if you scroll social media and all out there, right? It's hard to disseminate what's AI video, what's not AI video. You have to kind of stare at it a little bit to figure it out. Well, now, and we know that AI is very capable of producing, photorealistic images, genuine videos out there, at least what looks like genuine vehicles. They can write their own stories, which I enjoy reading because the holes in them are amazing at times. But so you got that stuff, right? Human generated art and AI art is just very hard to disseminate from right now as well. Well, one big company out there, well, they want to help us out with that, especially because how do you tell on music, right? When it comes to that music, Spotify, they came out and said they want to help us mere mortal users tell the difference between AI and human music choices out there. The Spotify is being inundated with AI music here as well to tell the difference. So Spotify said they've launched a certification tool that indicates whether a song was created by a person or artificial intelligence. It's called Verified by Spotify. This is a new badge. It identifies human artists to give listeners more insight and transparency into the music and artists that you're discovering. So the badge appears on profiles of artists who've already been vetted by the platform and determined that they are, in fact, a human being. So to receive the badge, you have to have, quote, signals of a real artist, unquote. It must be represented in an uploader's profile. So how do they spot this? Well, Spotify said it will look for an identifiable artist presence both on and off the platform, things like concert dates and merchandise, link social accounts on the artist profiles. That's one way how they'll disseminate it as well. Profiles alleged to represent AI generated artists, well, they're not going to receive the verified badge moving forward. So you can now, Spotify's trying to help us figure out what's AI and what's not out there. And folks, heads up here. Yeah. Some people are getting injured here with their thermos mugs. I'm not kidding you. Thermos is recalling 8.2 million containers and jars. Yeah, some of the stoppers on them, well, they basically eject out of the thermos container and severely hurt people. That's literally what's happening out there. There have been laceration injuries that required medical attention. Three consumers actually suffered permanent vision loss with those stoppers shooting out of their thermos containers. It includes 5.8 million thermos stainless king food jars, about 2.3 million thermos sportsman food and beverage bottles as well. With the items sold at Target, Walmart, Amazon.com, so big retailers out there as well. They were sold between March 2008 and July 2024. Big selling time window here as well. Now, this is a notice from the Consumer Product Safety Commission, is where we find this. Now, so, it's big numbers, big selling dates. Now, I'm going to say only 27 reports of consumers that were struck by the stoppers that ejected from the containers are the only 27 reports at that time. So it's not a large amount. But if people are literally losing their eyes and their eyesight, yeah, it needs to be addressed, right? The issues were caused by the stoppers in the recalled containers not having a pressure relief in the center. So just built up pressure and just shoots out on you. So the recalled items are thermos stainless king food jars with model numbers SK3000 and SK3020. Those were manufactured before July 2023. And what I was reading about these two, they're still selling them. They just make them in such huge quantities and put them in a warehouse. All Thermos Sportsman food and beverage bottles with model number SK3010 3010. If you don't know where your model number is, well, it's printed on the bottom of the containers, or just if you've noticed your stopper shooting out of it left and right and almost injuring you, check that out as well. And when we come back here, we'll get into some local stories. Sky Harbor, well, some record numbers for them here over the last month or so. We'll talk about that. Of course, we'll look at some stocks out there. Rivian, we'll look at Roblox, Reddit as well. Come on back, Friday edition. McCollum on Business. And we're back here. McCollum on Business Friday edition. Papa Mike checks in and says, "Good morning, sir. Good morning, senor. Appreciate you joining us here, of course. Robat TV, YouTube as well. TME Media AZ is where you can find our programming. As soon as we're done here, we get this up on demand on Robat, YouTube there, TME Media AZ, and on Rumble as well is where you can find our programming. Rumble.com/user/TME Media is where you can find it on Rumble. All of our programming is over there as well, because today it's Friday. The Real Matrix comes out with its new episode as well. Cholesterol is the subject today. 10 a.m. on Robat TV is when it's released. Then, of course, noon here on Rumble. Rumble.com/user/TME Media, and on your favorite podcast systems at noon here today as well. Just search the Real Matrix Angry Patriot on your favorite podcast systems. It comes right up for you. As soon as I'm done here, well, 17-year NFL veteran Dale Hellestrade will come on the program. And, of course, we'll go right into the main event as well. We'll get you caught up for the weekend sports side. A lot of closeout games in hockey last night. Suns had their season-ending press conference with owner and general manager. We'll talk about that as well. Big day here getting caught up with Dale off all week, and we'll get caught up with him. Plus a little story on what happened in the life of Steve, a little segment we do around here when I get wrapped up into some nonsense out there in the real world, coming up your way live 8 to 10 a.m. on Robat TV, YouTube, TME Media AZ as well. And don't forget to follow TME Media AZ also on X. That's the parent company we work with. It puts out information on the shows, other things we do besides what you guys see that we do here. And then, of course, the pit stop. That's up this week. It came out early this week on Tuesday. Big racing weekend at Texas Motor Speedway starting today on Friday with the Truck Series there. Still time to catch the pit stop and get up to date on the Truck Series tonight. If not, catch it this weekend as well. Get caught up on it. Follow that at the Pit Stop Talk on X. Search the Pit Stop Talk, or just type in the Pit Stop with Steven on your favorite podcast system. Or, of course, catch it on YouTube, TME Media AZ, or on the Rumble pages as well, folks. And appreciate you joining us here on this Friday. Let's keep this rolling here with that Market Watch. First day of the trading day of May. Well, first trading day of May. Let me phrase that properly here. Apple shares are up today, as we told you earlier. The S&P 500's up, as you can see. Oil is falling today. Dow Jones is up that 194 points right now. S&P 500's up to 51. NASDAQ's up 273 points right now. Even the Russell 2K is up 4 points as we're speaking right now. Bitcoin, yeah, that's even up today big too, 2,000 points. It went up, back up to that 78,321 for Bitcoin right now. And first stock we're looking at here in this segment, Rivian, you know, the electric vehicle maker, they're down 6.10%. They're down even though they had better than expected first quarter loss numbers. Rivian reported a loss of 33 cents per share. Well, the expectation was a loss of 63 cents per share. So they cut that loss in half there. They also had revenue of $1.38 billion, and that revenue, well, the expectation was $1.37 billion in revenue. So they beat their numbers. They're still down 5.95% here today. They also reaffirmed that it expects to sell 62 to 67,000 cars later on or throughout this whole year. So all positive numbers here for Rivian, but still down 5.55% here today. Next up, let's go online here, right? Social media stuff with Reddit out there. Reddit's up 9.60% right now. Daily active users in their first quarter, well, it did beat estimates, but by a small amount. They said they had 126.8 million daily active users there on Reddit. The consensus was 125.9 million. So what's that? Just a little bit higher than that number. Well, their adjusted EBITDA for the current quarter, well, they expect it to range from 285 to 295 million. The expectation on that was only 275.7 million. Good numbers for Reddit, 9.48% here up for Reddit here on this Friday. And then let's look at the online gaming platform your kids know and love. And that's Roblox out there, folks. And it's not a good day for Roblox out there. 18.48% right now. They slashed its guidance for full year bookings. Anytime you slash your guidance, market responds negatively most of the time. They now say they have a range of $7.33 billion to $7.60 billion dollars is the range that they're at now. Before, the earlier forecast that they had was 8.28 to 8.55 billion dollars. Not only did they slash it, they slashed it in huge numbers there as well. Second quarter bookings are expected to range from 1.55 to 1.61 billion dollars, and the estimates were 1.83 billion dollars as well for Roblox out there. You guys aren't spending enough money on Roblox, or you're not letting your kids spend enough money on Roblox out there, folks. Roblox stock taking the beating today because of the reaffirming of the guidance is down 17.63% for Roblox here today. And let's get off of that negative. I hate ending the stocks on negative news out there, but got some positive here as well. March of this year, well, it's officially the busiest month ever at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. And also in that same time frame, it had the single busiest day ever as well. Keep in mind, this was right in the middle of the government shutdown as well, with those TSA agents not being paid. More than 5.1 passengers traveled through Sky Harbor in March. On March 8th, 86,000 departing passengers were screened at security checkpoints at Sky Harbor. That's the most ever in a single day as well. That beats the record previously set when Arizona hosted the Super Bowl back in 2023. I think it was around Valentine's Day, so I want to say February 13th, February 14th, in that range. 2025 was only the second time ever that Sky Harbor crossed the 50 million passenger mark as well. And keep in mind, like I said, that was right in the middle of that government shutdown where TSA agents weren't being paid out there. So, look, give kudos to those agents coming in, getting people through those airports in those record numbers as well out there. Now, let's talk a little bit about SRP, right? Salt River Project. They've reached another agreement here with NextEra Energy Resources. Yeah, they're going to generate 3,000 megawatts of new solar energy by the end of 2034. That's going to be enough power to power about 600,000 homes. The agreement will add enough solar capacity to power 595,000 houses. It's obviously a huge step in SRP's goal to more than double the capacity of its power system by 2035. So to accomplish that goal of, the power system, capacity, doubling that by 2035, well, to accomplish that, the energy provider, they need energy, obviously. They need other people to help them build the energy out there. They need natural resources or solar energy or green resources out there. And SRP plans thousands of additional megawatts of resources that include renewable energy. That's the solar, wind, natural gas. But the battery storage is becoming a huge thing for SRP as well. SRP and NextEra Energy Resources new deal. Well, that's going to provide construction of a 500 megawatt of solar per year from 2029 through 2034. That's in addition to the already 1,000 plus megawatts of resources that NextEra Energy Resources has already developed across 5 projects for SRP. And SRP currently has more than 3,000 megawatts of carbon free resources. That includes 1,500 megawatts of solar, 1,570 megawatts of battery storage as well. And obviously, that supports just the grids here as well, serves us as SRP consumers for those of us that do have SRP out there. So they're continuing that green trend here and on a successful pace to get to the numbers they want to get to as well. And finally, we're going to leave you here with the battle of sports, right? You want to go see a Diamondbacks game? You want to sit in the suite with your 10 or 18 best buddies, but you don't want to go to just some danky suite with some pictures in it and all fancy hobnobbing. No. You want something special? Well, the Diamondbacks have availed a special suite for you out there. The 16th hole theme suite over there at Chase Field is officially there. It's called the WM Phoenix Open Suite 16. And look, whether you're a baseball fan, golf fan, you can kind of mix them together here. You can book this space for Up to 18 people if you'd like. This is a newly renovated suite. It has private access, free food, free non alcoholic drinks, and 3 6-packs of Coors Light, all catered to the suite. So you don't have to go anywhere, walk down the hallway like you sometimes have to do. You also get 4 parking passes. Each guest gets a WM Phoenix Open souvenir cup as well. Go to Diamondback's website there to get more information on the suite. I did some research for you on pricing as well. But you go to Diamondback's website, click on it there, boom. 18 of your best friends can go see it in the waste management suite there. Yeah. It's variety. It's available for a bunch of dates still. All summer long. It's not sold out as of yesterday or this morning when I looked at the pricing. Prices are going to vary though, depending on the game, or the package you want to do, right? So, for example, let's just throw out they got Pittsburgh Pirates coming into town next week or May 6th. So, yeah, next week. Yeah. There's an 18 ticket suite for $4,110 for you out there. The one 4,110 divided by 18. Somebody quick. I didn't do that math. Yeah. But if you want to go with the better team out there, like let's just say the Los Angeles Dodgers, right? That they play them on August 8th. That suite's available. Well, that price is $4,130 for a 10 ticket suite, $8,160 for the 18 ticket suite for that Dodgers game at that time. So nearly double the price. Shocker, right? Demand pricing is in effect there at Chase Field, depending on the opponent as well. So there you go, folks. You see it there on your screen if you're interested. They should have put a putting green in there or something, or chipping green or something. That would be that would make it a little bit different of an event. Ooh, you could chip onto the field from the suite. Made myself laugh. Hey, folks, we'll be back on Monday morning, 7 a.m. McCollum on Business. Come and join us, would you? We'll see you then as well. Catch all of our programming on demand. Real Matrix today coming out as well. 10 o'clock on Robat, noon on Rumble, YouTube. Rumble or the free podcast system. Not on YouTube. They don't necessarily care for that show on YouTube there. Main events coming up next. Come and join me and 17-year NFL veteran Dale Hillestray, 8 to 10 a.m. TME Media AZ, of course. Robot TV as well. We'll see you then, folks. Have a great weekend. See you on Monday.